We are a group of neurodivergent people.
I have cerebral palsy.
Mild autism.
Dyslexia. And for the first time, we will get the chance to interview well-known celebrities and personalities.
I'm a bit nervous because he's a minister.
Here, he's always talk about health issues, always make sure when people are sick, take medicine and get some rest.
So you remember what everything is there?
Today, our guest is politician and social media star Ong Ye Kung.
I've never been interviewed by 20 individuals before. That alone, I think, is quite different. Never get to see what questions they will ask. But I do know it will be the most honest questions I ever received. Hello. Hi.
And these are some of
Hello.
our participants.
How are you? Good to see you. Stephanie.
Hello, Mr. Ong. I'm Emily.
Emily.
Hi, Miss Song, I'm Filmer.
Filma. How are you?
Hi, Minister Ong. I'm Durkes.
Yes. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good
Mr.
afternoon.
Ong. Nice shirt. I like how you wear.
I came from a Chinese New Year event. I didn't have time to change. How's everybody? Have you been appearing on every episode so far?
Yes, it's quite nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
You are the one asking the question. We should be feeling nerve-wracking.
But we have to come up with the questions
Oh, you
ourselves.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Hello. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Ong. My name is Shrikant and I love vinyl records just like you.
You have a most favorite?
Johnny Horton is my most favorite.
Very good. Quite rare, I think.
Hey, hi,
How are you?
Mr. Ong.
Good to see you. Good to see everybody. I'm your last guest for this season.
You are the best for last.
I'm not sure about that. I hope I don't disappoint.
Good afternoon, Minister Ong. My name is Vincent and welcome to the Assembly. The rules here are simple. There is no subject that's off limits, no questions will be turned away, and anything can happen here. So can you share the one thing about yourself that people don't know?
I don't know if people know, but actually I think I am a funny guy. People see me as minister, and if I am not smiling, I look really fierce now and I'm not talking. So I have a resting, angry face. And so coming into politics and becoming a public figure, people always say you are very hard to approach. You always look a bit angry and unhappy and pissed off even. But the truth is, actually I'm a jovial, gregarious, and a funny person.
Okay, so far when I search from the media, you have the highest number of followers among the other ministers on social media. So far, do you feel proud of yourself?
Oh, do I have the highest?
Yes,
Can't be,
Yeah, you do.
Among most of the ministers, yeah.
really.
Yeah, correct.
Am I proud of it? I would say I'm pleased, I'm glad to hear that from you because as you can tell, many of my social media posts is about health, it's about my work. And I try to promote good, healthy habits and also services that you can benefit from in the healthcare system. So the fact that people are following means that the messages are getting through. So in a way, I'm glad, yeah.
Do your daughters also thought they are a really cool person?
My daughters, I'm afraid they may not think I'm very cool. I'm just Papa. And Papa sometimes is a bit square. Papa sometimes don't understand Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but I'm coping.
Now, this is a follow-up question. What is it like being a father of daughters?
You are naturally somehow more protective. I treat them like babies, and my wife always scold me, they're already in their 20s, don't treat them like babies. I kind of think they enjoy being treated like babies too, right? So, yeah. Being a father to two daughters is probably the best thing I've done in my life. Yeah, probably the best thing. Yeah.
Are your social media videos your own idea or did someone help you to do them?
I would say almost every video I put out is a collective effort. Who came up with the idea, it varies. When it was raining a lot, I asked my team, should we do a video to give some suggestions on how to exercise when it's raining? It's the rainy season, but this is no reason to stop exercising. So I may come up with the idea, but then the team will give it substance. And sometimes the other way around. When a product comes out and it sounds so fun, usually the people behind it is also having fun. So it's not about the weather, but whether you want to.
Honestly, I think you're a TikTok icon.
An icon?
Yeah, TikTok icon.
Really?
Yeah, Slay Queen.
Slay Queen, Slay Queen. I know the word slay.
You are a busy man. How do you find time to do so many social media videos?
Do I do many?
Because you are high follower, that's why highest number followers.
No, I don't do that many. Okay, to be honest, I'm very disciplined. I have a few key rules in all my social media videos. First, cannot be what I call bo liao. That means it has no meaning. Number 2 principle is must have a health message. Number 3, I cannot have too high a frequency. I put out once a week. So I may spend half an hour a week to make a video.
So now you're a Star Wars fan.
Yes.
So I gotta ask, which side are you on? The Jedi or the Sith?
Which side are you on?
Sith.
You're the Sith. Oh, okay. It's a very interesting question, seriously. Of course, we are the good guys. We must always be on the Jedi side. But truly, the Star Wars character that make me a fan is Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. Yeah. Because that duality is just so fascinating, right? He's the father, he's also the villain. But by the time I finished watching Empire Strikes Back, I fell off my chair. He's the father. Then I became a fan. Yeah, so am I on the dark side or on the Jedi side? I think I'm fascinated by that duality.
Okay.
Is there any instrument that you would love to learn to play?
I only play the guitar, not very well. And I don't have the music blood in me. But I wanted to learn the guitar. So pretty much the chords, the progressions, I learned by heart.
I play the piano and I play the guitar. Do you ever get a chance to play the guitar and jam with Prime Minister Lawrence Wong?
That's a good idea, no? Maybe I'll suggest to him. Potential collab, no?
One day I would love to jam with you and Prime Minister Lawrence Wong.
I tell you what, I will try to ask him. I'll try to ask him.
Hi, Minister Ong. Did people make fun of the fact you couldn't speak English when you were younger? And how do you deal with it?
I would say people didn't make fun of me. During the time when I was a child and in primary school, there are actually quite a number of students coming from Chinese-speaking background where family language is Chinese. We are just very quiet. Not because we are quiet people, but because we don't know what to say. We don't have the command of the language. So it took a long time for me to gradually learn English, to be able to speak first. Writing came a lot later. I would say writing came only towards the end of my university when you're forced to write essays.
Say a composition, those kind of.
Oh, I struggle.
Oh boy.
I started reading maybe at P2. I remember I was seated in front, and my English teacher was just teaching us to pronounce a certain long word. And that was the point, at P2, 8 years old, that I realized, hey, hang on, if W-I-N is win, D-O-W is do, you put together is window, you know? I discovered phonics at that moment, and I still remember that moment. So that was the start of my reading.
Wow.
Amazing, yeah.
Do you still feel insecure about your English now?
Sometimes, honestly, because grammar don't come naturally to me. because my brain is wired from a very young age to the Chinese language. So grammar came later, and grammar is torturous, you know. I never understood. Run, past tense, ran, then past participle, run again, then break, broke, then broken. So it was torturous learning all that. Thankfully, there is now autocorrection. I do make quite a bit of grammar mistakes whenever I write speeches. So if you hear me deliver a speech and I make grammar mistakes, that was me.
Hi, Minister Ong. From what I know, your father was in the opposition party.
Yes, he was.
So why didn't you join the opposition party like your father? Hi, Minister Ong. From what I know, your father was in the opposition party.
Yes, he was.
So why didn't you join the opposition party like your father?
My father lived in a different time where there were very divergent positions on where Singapore is heading. He was on a certain side, Anakin or Darth Vader side. He's on one side. But he chose a side, and he has conviction to that side. And he particularly is very passionate about serving the villagers and helping the villagers. He would earn money as an MP and use his MP allowance to help build a bridge for a road for his village, things like that. And so that was how he felt he should contribute, and he was elected in 1963. I think what I probably learned from him subconsciously is this idea of serving society, helping people around me. And I was a civil servant, and naturally I felt that the way to serve is to join the PAP and to join the ruling party. And that was the path I chose. But I would think that both he and I, we chose the same path of public service. It's just that times are different. The parties we chose might be different, but nevertheless, I'm following my father's footsteps in many ways.
Thank you.
Nobody asked me that question before, Not that I remember.
So my question is, your father gave no support when you decided to enter the politics. How did you feel then?
I wouldn't say my father gave no support. I was first invited to join politics, it was 2006. I think he needed time to process it, because in some way he was torn and therefore asked for more time, and I fully respected that. So 2006, I couldn't join politics, But by the time we approached the next election, he had given me his blessings after thinking it through. What really went on in his mind, unfortunately, I didn't really talk him through it. But after some years, he decided to give his blessings and his support.
Okay, thank you, Minister Ong.
Hi, Minister Ong.
Hi.
I would just like to know, when you joined the government, did you ever feel that you betrayed your parents in some way?
As in join politics with the PAP?
Yes.
Yes, as their son. And knowing both my parents are heavily involved in opposition politics, including my mother, that question you just asked went through my mind. They were on one side, I'm choosing the other side. Am I in some way letting them down? So of course I spoke to them. It was not just one conversation. It was conversation over quite a number of years, talking things through and coming to the conclusion that actually I'm choosing my own path to serve, and in some ways I'm following their footsteps. So eventually they accepted. But I should say, I do have a regret, which is none of my late parents saw me win an election. They gave blessing for me to run in the 2011 election, which I went to Aljunied, I didn't win. So by then, my father had passed away. But my mother was around, and she saw me lost. 2015, I came back in, I won the election. By then, she has passed away. So one regret is I never had my parents saw me win an election. I'm sure if they had been around and see me win, they would have been proud.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Minister Ong. We heard that your mother was a student activist. Can you tell us more about your mother's boycott and did it influence you in any way?
You could find that information. Where did you find the information? I didn't know that it's on public record somewhere. Huh? You're so resourceful. Well, not many people know that. She wasn't involved in the boycott. There was a boycott of the exam. By then, she already left school. She was a mentor to the student activists. This is all I know of her involvement. But as she grew older, she became a teacher, very passionate teacher, and poured her heart and soul into teaching and being a mother. So as I grew up, I did not see a student activist in my mother. Yeah, she was a strict disciplinarian, very strict, but I didn't see an activist. It was only later I found out some of her past. Yeah.
You were considered a potential candidate for Singapore's prime ministership at one time. Did you ever want to be PM?
I would suppose at some point in time, not that you want to be, but you are prepared to take it up if you are entrusted upon the responsibility. Whether you are going to be an MP, a minister, or a prime minister, it involves a lot of sacrifice. Not just your own time. We have no weekends. Every day we work, just like today we work. Yeah. Also, your family end up sacrificing as well in terms of privacy, in terms of they having enough time with you. So it's just a huge sacrifice. But notwithstanding that, having entered politics and decided to enter politics, I think if you are entrusted, you have to try to take it up. But today we have a clear choice in Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. He has a very strong set of qualities, and I think as an old friend, old colleague, I knew him since early 2000s, I think we should all support him. Yeah.
So I'm Misha. My question is, what the biggest mistake you made as a minister?
Biggest mistake as a minister, not in life, but as a minister. Interesting question. No? I would say there were times where I was in a position to make a change, but somehow because of the agenda or some things that you're already implementing, you don't want to crowd the agenda, you push it off, and then you miss the chance. So I would say it's a mistake of omission, not a mistake of commission. It's something that as a minister, I could have done it, but I missed it. So there are a few, that today I look back to say, if I go back to my old position, I would have done it quickly. Yeah. What those are, I cannot tell you.
Well, afternoon, Mr. Ong. How do you feel to be one of the few PAP members that is not selected for the general election in 2011? How do you feel to be one of the few PAP members that is not selected for the general election in 2011?
It took it quite hard. In 2011, many of my colleagues and friends came in together, like Minister Chan, at that time ex-speaker Tan Chuan Jin. They were all my schoolmates, so we knew each other for a long time. And then I felt, how come I'm the only one that didn't get elected? Yeah, so it was, it hit me quite hard. Yeah, but I must say, after that, you start to realize, okay, no point brooding about that setback, right? You start to think about, is it a failure? Actually, not really. Depends on how you look at it. So I decided I shall not make this a failure. So therefore, I took the opportunity to learn different things. I was in the union at that time. I served the union, and after that, went to the private sector, tried to learn something I never did in the private sector, and then eventually came back again. And when I come back, I became a different politician. I don't think I am who I am without the 2011 setback. In some way, 2011 and the setback in Aljunied changed the way I look at politics and changed the way I feel what kind of politicians I am.
Hello, Minister Ong.
Hello.
Your support for palliative care stems from personal experience. How did witnessing your grandmother's journey shape your views of end-of-life care?
It's both my grandmother and my mother. My grandmother had cancer of the lung, very advanced. I'm very close to her. We were brought up by her because parents were all working. Whenever she had to go to hospital and stay one night, she always complained to me, in Teochew, It means living one night in a hospital is like living for a year in a hospital. But in the end, she passed away in a hospital. I have no doubt she wants to go home. And I think given today's pain management and today's standard of palliative care, it would have been possible to settle her at home. And it would have been her dying wish, I believe. My mother also passed away in the hospital, but in a more comfortable environment because she was also terminal. And the person that helped me most was the palliative nurse, who taught me so much. One thing that the palliative nurse taught me was that organs will start to fail, but the ears is the last to go, and therefore talk to her and read to her, which is what I did. And my mother knew when to go. Yeah, she was a Christian, so I was reading her sermon a day. I read from October or September, just keep reading until I reached 31st December. So I say, Mama, 31st December I finish, and then the nurse say, I'll come to clean her wound, and as they were cleaning her wound, she goes. She decides to go. Yeah. So she waited till 31st December. Yeah. But she died in the hospital, but it was a peaceful departure. So I think from both personal experience, I find that the great majority of Singaporeans would like to go in a comfortable environment without too many medical interventions and surrounded by loved ones. Yeah. So I think palliative care is our way to fulfill the wishes of the great majority of Singaporeans.
And I really admire how you turn a deeply personal experience to a catalyst of meaningful change. And as a palliative care nurse myself, every day I witness how your policy have benefited many families.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, and also for all your work as a
no
palliative
worries.
nurse.
So I just want to know why did you join the COVID task force? Did you feel stressed?
Okay, I joined the COVID task force because the Prime Minister assigned me to it. Yeah, and I will do my best. Was I stressed? I would say surprisingly no. I get stressed when I don't know what to do, when I cannot figure out the solution, when I cannot figure out the approach. In the case of COVID task force, I was actually very clear what we need to do. We need to vaccinate, we need to have social restrictions, so safe management measures to minimize the spread of the virus. We need to vaccinate, ask Singaporeans to come forward, vaccinate. When we vaccinate to a certain degree, we need to open up our economy and go back to normal. That is the path.
Thank you, Mr. Ong, for coming to the assembly and sharing your experiences with us. We had a wonderful time.
Thank you. Thank you. I had a wonderful time as well, and thank you very much for your questions. It's probably the most honest interview I ever had. Thank you very much.
This is the last episode. The final session is season 1.
So whether you have a season 2 depends on this episode, no?
Yeah,
this episode do well, you have another season.
I'm looking forward to it, Mr. Ong.